Chapter 1 Awakening Christ Consciousness. The Rebellion. On their way to the Promised Land, the children of Israel became weary and began to complain. They longed for the good old days, the days of their servitude in Egypt. Somehow the memory of those days that they once dreaded became nostalgic. They forgot about the many arduous hours that they were required to work each day. Lost to their memory were the demanding deadlines. The remembrance of the many beatings and the slaying of their offspring was somehow erased. Instead, they reflected on the good things, like the food in particular, the tasty, light bread that was their staple, and yes, the water. They had water. It was definitely not like it is now, where they are unable to quench their thirst. God took offense and attacked them with venomous serpents. Realizing their misdeeds, they repented and asked to be forgiven. What is God's solution to the dilemma? Meditate on the serpent. What else but the obvious? He commands them to look to the serpent on a pole for their healing. Now, is it not passing strange that in a book where the serpent is seemingly demonized, it should be their only avenue of deliverance? Why would God instruct them to do this, especially when the word looked, which is used in verse 9, does not mean to glance casually upon. Rather, it means to look intently at. In other words, Moses was instructing them that they had to meditate on the serpent in order that they might receive their healing. Meditate on a snake? Would that not, at the very least, be idolatry, but even worse, satanic worship? The serpent healer. The Lord said to Moses, "Make a snake, sarf, and put it on a pole. Anyone who is bitten can look at it and live." So Moses made a bronze snake, nakash, and put it on a pole. Then when anyone was bitten by a snake and looked at the bronze snake, they lived. Throughout history, the serpent has and still is not just the giver of knowledge, but the healer. The serpent is the healing energy. It is the healing energy within. Remember, the Apostle Paul told us that these are allegories, that is, they're stories that reveal hidden meanings and are not to be taken literally. To stare at the serpent at the top of the pole is the equivalent of meditating on the pineal gland. The serpent is equated to your activated third eye. Where is the pineal gland? It is located in the center of your brain. The Yoruba call it your ori. So you're being informed that the pineal gland, third eye, is activated through meditation. Remember, the story has nothing to do with anything outside of yourself. It's all about you. It is all about awakening the Christ within. The Egyptian Christ. Christ says, "As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up." Here Christ is equated with the serpent on the pole. Why? Because it is one and the same. The concept of the Christ predates the Jesus personality portrayed in the New Testament. In fact, it can be traced all the way to the mystery schools of ancient Egypt. The original word is Christos. Its esoteric meaning was fire. It is from the Egyptian Christos to the Greek god Christos, from which we have Christ. The Christos, is a state of consciousness, an advanced awakened state of consciousness. It is an awakening of the divinity within. The Christ, for thousands of years, was never regarded as a single person, any one person. It only moved from being a state of consciousness to a singular being. Thanks to Ro.